Our colleague yesterday said we all have a right to health, okay, and we have a right to good health. Yesterday I asked the audience, how many doctors are here? Yeah. Not one hand came up. Where are these guys? Okay, oh, there is one doctor? Welcome. We do need the right to do the research, proper research on correct varieties. I mean, what we've heard from Dr. Lumiere, what does he tell you? That it's not enough to have just the right level of CBD, of THC.
As I told you, if you have certain strain and two strains, and there are exactly same amount of THC and CBD, one can treat you and not the other one. So if somebody tells you this must treat you because over there is 10% THC and 5% CBD, it doesn't mean that it helps just to you. Because maybe you need another strain where is also 10% THC, 5% CBD, but different strain. Because important are these compounds which have entourage effect. It means that these compounds together with cannabinoids make treatment more efficient. Correct strain for particular patient that we can tell to the patient, you must use this strain and this will help you. So we are still not on this level, but we are approaching, but slowly. The biggest break are the laws, because we want to do research and to send samples through the border, it's complicated. Even if you do science, so it's complicated and it can endanger scientists. They can go to the jail very, very easily. So this is the biggest break in approach to the new knowledges about cannabis, and of course to this problem between countries, samples or bring samples, or also pharmaceutical companies are very powerful, which are not interested in cannabis treatment.
Everybody around here, including legislators, including people who talk about human rights, not just human rights, rights to do research, freedom of doing research, freedom of doing clinical studies, and the money. Because, you know, we spend a lot of money as a humanity. I'm a European community expert. I review daily, 20 proposals. For each one of them gets about anyway between 3 to 6 million euro. My euros, your euros. You know, we all pay tax.
But I found that I've been prevented from having dialogue at scientific meetings this way. I was originally chastised when I first brought up the idea that cannabis could cure cancer at an ICRS meeting or something years ago. I was poo-pooed. How dare I say that it actually could cure cancer? Pictures I showed yesterday of the woman with the squamous cell on her nose. So we had it analyzed. We know that different people and have different cancers, and they don't care whether the science approves or not. You know, when you're a person who's had some Mohs surgery and they want to cut half your face off again for the next tumor, and then you say, well, I might as well try the oil, and you put the oil on and it goes away. And then you come up with another one and you put the oil on and it goes away. You are the experiment, because for you, you can repetitively cure your cancer. And that's all people care about.
In some cases, maybe in some others, it's not working well. I think it's important not to say this is completely alternative. No, it's something that has to be integrated within the system.
So I think we need both. Because, you know, on one hand, you say, yes, we have the right, but that patient needs to know Dr. Melamig and needs to be convinced. Since I've seen you last, I lost several friends to cancer. Why did I lose them? Because when I told them, and all of them had brain cancer, when I told them to consider cannabis, the answer was from one, my doctor thinks I'm doing very well.
I want to talk about the need to interface thoughts like mine with your experiences so we can do this testing and see if what I'm finding out, and which is always consistent, which is predictive and everything else, whether or not we can look at the molecular end of it. But I don't care about the molecular end as much anymore because I know what I can do with helping people.
Sure, I agree, but I'm telling you, it is possible.
I agree.
With the right funding. I can, for example, guarantee that I could have a clinical study open in 6 weeks in Europe with the funding with cannabis.
And I told you we will do that as soon as the money flows, and I can say, here, Dorothy, go do that. Yeah. And I've set up everything to do that, so I will have the funds to do whatever I want, wherever I want, whenever I want, and we will be doing all of these things.
Well, this sounds absolutely great.
I think it's a very interesting debate, but I think we all have the same idea. Sure. Probably I've been working almost for 20 years on the anti-cancer activity of cannabinoids. I have done all my best to try to translate these results into clinical studies. But on top of that, I have tried to help in the way I managed to patients, because many patients were writing us. I was always directing them to a medical doctor because I'm not a medical doctor, but with the idea, obviously, I really believe that cannabinoids have anti-cancer activity because I have seen it, not only in cells, also in animal models. But that's why I think that, I can say there are things that are proved, there are things that are not proved.
Because all these scientific studies, they start with one single compound, and we know that this is complex of compounds, so it's quite different biodynamic action than just only one compound. Good example is, I every time give example cocaine. If you use cocaine like pure compound, you can use it twice and you are finished because you are dependent and you can lose everything in your life. If you lose coca leaves also contain cocaine, but there is complex of compounds, and even after years of using of coca leaves, you can stop immediately without any problem and without any harm. This was proved even by scientists. The best example is Professor Schultes. He used it 7 years in Amazonia region because said that without this it was impossible to live. And when he returned to Harvard University, next day he didn't use it. After 7 years, everyday use and no problem. So important is really what is the complex of compounds and how you use it.
How can happen that the cannabis is the most researched plant on the planet? The doctors, scientists, all promoting cannabis, and it's still not allowed even to use in any form in Europe.
That's exactly what I want to bring up.
That's the biggest stupidity ever.
And I believe that the reason for that is because the scientists who should know better and should be speaking out that we all have the fundamental right to use this are not doing so. If everybody who knew about the medical benefits or just the scientific prediction of medical benefits would speak out and demand that we all have rights as human beings to use this God-given plant, it would be over. But instead we have experts saying, we need more research, we need more research. That's killing people, and I don't find it acceptable.
Yes, we need more research, but in the meantime, we may not fool people around and lock them up and, yes, we need more research every day, that's not a problem, but the people may not be stigmatized because of the use.
I've been to many conferences, and I tell you, yours, despite being small, is actually one of the best, because most other conferences take sides and you don't, and you need that balance, because I just want to, it sort of goes away from what we discuss, but these are very important points. In Europe, legally, and not just in Europe, we are limited, even if we grow hemp legally, we are limited to what we grow. We cannot get a license, and I'm speaking as a holder of one in the UK, we cannot get a license for a strain that isn't approved. That's a serious problem, even from a scientific point of view. Scientifically, I've been fighting my own government, and these guys are very friendly, but I'm not progressing very fast, to be able to germinate seeds that are of unknown origin. And I'm getting a pushback.
My pain, our diseases can't wait. So that's true. I mean, why not facilitating the people the access to cannabis? And we are speaking up. We are the scientists. We are going to different conferences, even where people are against drugs, and we are explaining why medical cannabis should be legal, and we are trying to do our work in Spain. I'm sure it's going to work. But we shouldn't mix that with the fact that still we need the proof if we want to say for sure it's going to help. But in the meantime, it's true that the people cannot wait 20 or 30 years before this is approved. And they have the right to use it right now. So I think we all agree on that.
Because we have created a true free-tier society where some people medicate themselves, some go to the doctor, some ask a friend, but we pay taxes. I don't want to pay taxes to people who don't know. I want to pay taxes to educated doctors, but the doctors have also the right to education, Bob, and they don't get it. Young medical students do not learn nutrition, they do not learn about endocannabinoid system, they have no idea. They will go through 6 years of medical school, will come out on the other side, and will wonder what happened to their lives.
Hello, my name is Tjaša, I'm from Slovenia, and I had been diagnosed with glioblastoma multiforme 3 years ago. I used cannabis, a lot of cannabis, and for 2.5 years my MRI is clean. I had one cycle of chemotherapy and radiation. And surgery. And surgery. I really wish that me and people who has what kind of problems with health, that we could choose what to use. That we have an option to use. It is my body.
Correct.
It is my health. And it should be my choice.